All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. They say that the advancement of technology comes with its perks and its pitfalls. And of course, the merit of courses in terms of is unarguably more than its demerits. While we enjoy its benefits, other demerits like cybercrime is one of those areas which I feel that I must bring to fall in terms of the focus to ensure that there is a balanced growth as we all have embraced technology today. Again, I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Atanda-Owo, and it's important for us to hear what on this day initial segment has for us today. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, my takeaway from on this day initial segment today from Damini Ogulu, that's aka Burna Boy. We can't take his credit away from him as far as I'm concerned when it comes to his contribution towards, the entertainment industry. Is one of the best Africa offered thus far in the world, and we can begin to count his accolades now, but I just want to use this platform to sincerely hope that he continues to recognize the fact that he is an inspiration to many youths across the globe, and he will use that in terms of positivity, to continue to shine the light to youths who are looking up to him, and thousands of people, not just the youth, even adults, who have been able to resonate, relate to most of his songs. I think that's my takeaway from the On This Day initial segment today. Let's get a quick break from a quick message from my sponsors. When I return, I will dive straight to conversation at and stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Let me first of all put it out there that I'm a bit under the weather, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that we have a good show as always. But back to the conversation at hand. Nigeria's rapid growth as a technological hub in Africa has brought about the significant challenge of increasing cybercrime. And while the economic and social benefits of this technological growth are evident, cyber criminals are drawn to these successes, posing a threat to future growth. Curbing cybercrime in Nigeria requires rising public awareness about cyber threats, and this is instrumental in terms of minimizing the perception gap of cybercrime, and of course reducing the pool of vulnerable individuals falling prey or prey to criminal schemes. On the live show today, I'm discussing cybercrime and cybersecurity levy. We are discussing it across board when it comes to banking sector, which is the most of all the sectors at hand, and the Central Bank of Nigeria's initiative as well, such as the IT standards blueprint and the certification to iOS 27001, and the PCI DSS will also be discussed today with my guest who will be joining me virtually. And of course, my guest is no other than the Chief Economist, Chief Sustainable Officer. He was the Division Head of Research and Economic Intelligence Group at Zenith Bank PLC from 2004 to 2017. But before we delve further, I think it's important for us to check the profile of our guest ourselves. And when I return, we'll be hearing his voice. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show, Chief Marcel Okeke. It's a pleasure to have you via our virtual lines today. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm okay.
Good to know. So let's
Thank you for having me.
Many thanks for joining us on our launch show today. So, sir, let's just dive straight to the topic at hand, because in Q1 in 2023, you know, the data breaches in Nigeria that increased about 64% with common threats, including ransomware, you know, phishing and business email that was compromised. I must ask you, how has the rise in cybercrime, you know, affected Nigeria's technological and economic landscape today?
Well, I may not have the figures the way you have them, but cybercrime has been on the increase in recent time, you know, as Nigeria advances in the ICT and IT world, so to speak, the digital economy. So is cybercrime advancing, you know, and so are the perpetrators, you know, getting more sophisticated by the day. Okay, so really, they're posing a lot of economy, which is why the government of the day decided to recognize it and to find ways to address it. Okay, if left unaddressed or unattended to seriously, it's going to impose a lot of you know, drawback on Nigeria's economic progress and even our IT advancement. So it's really poses a danger to the economy. That's what I can say for now.
Yeah, you, sir. I'm saying that finding a way to address it. Let's talk about.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the role of cybersecurity levy in funding and improving Nigerians' cybersecurity infrastructure. What is the cybersecurity levy to start with, and how does it aim to improve Nigeria's cybersecurity posture?
Well, for quite some days now, I would say, in the past 1 week, the brouhaha or furore over cybersecurity levy that the Central Bank of Nigeria issued a circular to introduce into the Nigerian polity, you know, has been a major issue. It has been in the public space. Yes, while it is good and very important that cybercrime and cyber criminality, you know, is fought on all fronts and seriously, by all stakeholders in the Nigerian economy, it is doubtful if cyber crime levy is the best way to go about it. I'm talking about cyber crime levy. We've come to understand that it is to be levied through digital economy, whereby if you want to make transfer using your phone to anybody, anywhere, you are surcharged, or you are charged 5%, 0.5% of whatever you have sent. That is what in the circular that the Central Bank of Nigeria has sent out. So we believe that that kind of levy, will be applied to, like you mentioned, fighting cybercrime through maybe setting up the infrastructure and maintaining existing infrastructure, for fighting cybercrime in the country. Okay, but as to whether that is the only way we can fund cybercrime fighting, it is very doubtful if that is the only way. In fact, Nigerians have risen practically in unison to say that it's not one of the ways. Okay, especially if you look at the fact that the government itself is still working on its a variety and multiplicity of taxes, and trying to harmonize the multiplicity of taxes that have existed in the Nigerian economy. And all of a sudden, this one just appeared from nowhere, to add to those, taxes. There is a panel set up by the federal government that is currently working on identifying the various taxes and harmonizing them, and invariably reducing the number of taxes, that are levied on economic agents, whether as individuals or corporate organizations. And this one just appeared from the blues, if you like. And talking about timing, Nigerians, the economy of the country is in its lowest ebb now, if you want to say. And Nigerians, many Nigerians are getting impoverished. And so any tax in any form that can remove any money from any person's pocket at this point in time, in addition to what such a person has been going through, is not welcome. Such tax is not welcome. Okay? So that is why you've been hearing about all the noise, all the trouble, so much so that some entities have taken the Central Bank of Nigeria to court and sued the Central Bank of Nigeria. There's a body called SERAP that has sued the Central Bank of Nigeria. It's an NGO. And others, are warming up to deal with, the Central Bank and the government. But in the past few days or so, we've also heard that the President of Nigeria has asked the CBN, to suspend the implementation of the cybercrime levy. And that is where we are now. Thank you.
All right, many thanks for that elaborate submission right there. But I will be coming back to the Central Bank of Nigeria's initiative. But quickly, let me touch on the Interpol, because according to Interpol cybersecurity awareness campaigns and education, they are talking about the fact that the public understanding of phishing and other threats is crucial for reducing vulnerability. How are the current cybersecurity awareness campaign, being funded and executed? I think that is important for us to touch on that. And secondly is the fact that I would like you to touch on the fact that, the impact of Central Bank of Nigeria when it comes to IT standards, blueprints on cybersecurity.
In terms of funding, the Office of National Security Advice, appropriates part of the federal budget every year, including this 2024. And so the funding has been going on. Okay? So to say that, through the cybercrime levy, that the agency could be funded better does not necessarily apply. Let me put it this way. It does not necessarily mean that the more the volume or the amount of money committed to fighting cybercrime, all things being equal, that better result, the better result we're going to achieve. Okay? So it's not a question of how much is sunk into it. It's a question of efficiency in the utilization of what is even available. Okay? Because if you look at the way agencies or entities in Nigeria, that are giving a lot of money, trillions and billions, the way they are spent, the way they are misappropriated, the way they are diverted, and so on and so forth. I mean, nothing encourages everybody to now, get this levy and then bundle them into the hands of people in the Nigeria Office of the National Security Advisor. Okay, that is on that hand. Let me say that you cannot say that cybercrime or cybercrime awareness is not, gaining ground in Nigeria because the agency that's supposed to carry it out is underfunded. There's no proof of that. Okay, so that will not be any ground for anybody to want to levy people. Okay, the issue is, how is government prioritizing, cybercrime fighting in the country? And that prioritization is not a question of how much money is allocated. It's not a question of how much money is levied. It's not a question of how the levy is collected. It's not a question of whether all of that goes to the National Security Advisor's office or not. Okay? So it's a question of the commitment and dedication of the people who are supposed to be generating the awareness and so on and so forth. Okay? So all we have to say now is to appeal to those who are concerned to utilize the resources available to them efficiently and effectively, in spreading the awareness and all. But let me also say that because the cybercrime and criminality and the people behind them, all these things are getting sophisticated. People can, from the comfort of their bedrooms, engage in the cybercrime, depending on what that person, the knowledge the person has. So a lot of youngsters, these days, put their IT knowledge into negative use. All those specializations or different ways of engaging in cybercrime that you are mentioning and all that. It's the youngsters, who are so adept, who are so experienced, so to speak, and who are fast at learning new ways of doing, IT things and all that. So they are even way ahead of the people who are supposed to be fighting them and all that. So we can only appeal at this point in time that the agencies concerned in fighting cybercrime within Nigeria should be more serious and more committed, rather than, generating the tension and heating up the polity by talking about cybercrime levy at this point in time. They are not starved, from all that I know. So they should do with what they have and let Nigerians see more results. Thank you.
Right there, and I like the fact that you've touched on all the efficiency and of course how we can curb certain challenges that we have right now when it comes to cyber crimes. However, let's talk about the implementation. The implementing aspect of this issue at hand is very strong when it comes to security measures. We have regular updates, employee training, robust KYC practices to mitigate, risks from both external and insider when it comes to the certain issue at hand. So I must ask you now, how do we move forward in terms of how to manage the issue at hand, in terms of the challenges, and how we can curb all the threats that comes with it, especially with the financial institution, being the area to curb cyber attacks that we know today, that you've also touched on the fact that a lot of young people have also engaged in all of these ills. How do we move forward from here before we go on a quick break?
Well, thank you. Let me tell you that the young people we are talking about are the people who are involved in what is called the Japa phenomenon in Nigeria. Okay? So young people who are being recruited into the financial services sector, I must tell you, I won't give you a specific percentage. Most of them are mere beds of passage. They don't want to be professional bankers, professional insurance people and all that. But some of them want to pass through that system, maybe to just mobilize the resources and all that and leave this country. And if you contact the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and some other professional bodies, they will show you statistics of the young people that are living in droves. So some of them exploit the system, in the banks, in the insurance companies, in some infotech, companies like that, exploit the system, execute this cybercrime we are talking about, or facilitate it one way or the other, and cheat the system, and leave the country. There are many instances like that. So you can see that many of these things we are talking about are insider efforts, so to speak. So when you talk about sensitization and how to curtail them and all that, it's a very, very multi-pronged issue. It poses a lot of challenge because you cannot tell the banks not to recruit staff, okay? You cannot also tell the youngsters not to want to leave the country, given the way the economy is, and some of them see the situation as helpless and hopeless. But that is not to encourage anybody to engage in any kind of crime. But that's the reality we're living with, okay? So that's what we see in the financial services sector, all right? So the thing is that each bank, each organization is as much as possible trying to, frustrate, such, fraudulent practices in their system, through trading and through acquisition of the state of art of, IT infrastructure and so on and so forth. So, but at the end of the day, all effort will not lead to the extermination or complete elimination of cybercrime, within the Nigerian system, but it can be substantially reduced, But I must tell you, it's an integral part of the improvement of the economy. I want to believe that as soon as the Nigerian economy begins to pick up and things begin to get better, that it will have a kind of inverse relationship, meaning that the tendency to commit crime generally and cybercrime in particular, will be reduced if the economy begins to get better. And that is our hope. Thank you.
So we'll go on a quick break, and when I return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about addressing the rise of cybercrime in Nigeria amidst its technological growth, highlighting the importance of cybersecurity levy, education infrastructure, legal reforms, and of course capacity building. And today's show emphasizes, collaboration efforts amongst government, private sector, and of course the NGOs to ensure a secure digital future for Nigeria as a whole. And I must say many thanks to my guest, Chief Marcel Okeke. It's an honor to have you on the platform today. And let me use this opportunity to open the phone lines. Remember that you can be part of the conversation by calling the studio number 081-188-88113, and it's showing on your screen right now. It will be showing on your screen right now. We're streaming live on Facebook as well, not on YouTube page. There are quite a number of messages I've been getting regarding our YouTube page, only on Facebook right now, on Real Talk with Kike and on Silverbird platform. And let me quickly say this, I'm a little bit under the weather. This will be the second time I'm saying it because there are quite a number of my fans and family and friends who have been sending messages, I'm good, just the show must go on. So, sir, let me come to you, sir, Chief Okeke. With all that you've shared thus far, the Cybercrime Act of 2015 and the need for updates to address this emerging threats has been ongoing for a while, if we're going to be real on this platform, because discussing the role of the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau, that's the NDPB, in enforcing data protection laws. How does the cybersecurity levy facilitate necessary legal and regulatory reforms moving forward?
Well, if I had it well, the levy you recall appears to be inappropriately directed, as it came from the CBN circular, that in the original Act of 2015, it's supposed to be levied on some corporate organizations. Okay? But somehow, due to some distortions or misunderstanding of the wordings of the law, some people interpreted it to apply to just everybody and anybody that, does money transfer. Okay? So I want to believe that now that the president has asked that the law be suspended and kind of reviewed, that if and when he comes back again, that will be properly directed to the people that ought to pay, such a levy or tax, and applying whatever is realized properly, prudently, okay, and effectively to fighting cybercrime will go a long way in tackling such a menace in our society. It will also go a long way in leapfrogging the digital economy they were talking about. Because when cybercrime is being fought, it means that we're developing digitally, developing the IT economy in the right direction. But if it just left like that, without the awareness being created, and without people not knowing how to frustrate the perpetrators, I mean, we will be in a very serious danger as a country, as an economy. So I believe that eventually the right thing will be done and the desired result, will be achieved. Thank you.
I must touch on this aspect of technology or cyber challenges that we have. That is the cryptocurrency, which is still relatively a dark space for Nigerian financial institutions, because the banning of crypto in 2019 and it was a reinstatement with the recent news of the Binance executive that was smuggled out of the country that affected our exchange rates, according to the CBN. I'm quoting them now. What are your comments thus far regarding this?
My comment so far in that direction is that the Central Bank of Nigeria should be encouraged to discover more of the Binances, if you like, in our system, rather than issuing a plethora of circulars, to the commercial banks, okay? Like the CBN, they used to issue circulars. If you check in the past 1 quarter, you can't count the number of circulars, especially as far as the foreign exchange market management is concerned. There is a suspicion that the commercial banks are not doing what they ought to do, or that deliberately or otherwise they are sabotaging or not cooperating with the CBN, in trying to show up the value of the naira against the dollar and some other currencies and all that, and those directives and all that. But along the line, when it discovered the Binance, and I think, was it not said that about 20 billion or so US dollars, passed through that establishment in 1 year, last year, and that the system did not notice who were the people that carried transactions that amounted to all that. So all I can say now is that the CBN should be encouraged to smoke out the Binances of this world and are still operating within the system, so that their efforts in trying to restore the value of our naira will not be frustrated, okay? And there's no manipulation in terms of trying to get the right value of the naira going forward. So let them focus seriously on discovering such saboteurs in the system, and let the system deal with them appropriately. That's my position there.
All right. The reason why I asked the first question, I needed to touch on cryptocurrencies because of the increase in cryptocurrency-related cyber threats and scams, at stealing digital currencies, also placed us in a rather bad posture. Because I must tell you for what, I've been in that dark space with my cousin when it comes to cryptocurrency, how our money was wiped out, but that's another story for another day. But we remember these stories of also hush puppies and Woodbury, which were, perpetrated using cryptocurrency. I must ask, are we still having capital inflow through crypto till date? Or do you think, or is it a good or bad situation at hand for our economy? What are the justification right now when it comes to the overall of this crypto challenges?
Let me confess to you that upfront, that I'm not very vast when it comes to cryptocurrency and how it operates. But let me also tell you that the Nigerian system has not properly recognized or legalized, cryptocurrency activities in our system. As we speak now, the Securities and Exchange Commission is, I think, trying to fashion out, some kind of regulations or guidelines as to how cryptocurrency and digital assets trading and whatever, should flow in our system. Okay, so until that is done and they begin to operate legally within the system, it's neither here nor there. So the issue of whether it's good or bad does not yet arise, because the truth is that the system does not consider cryptocurrency good enough, to legalize it and to allow it, have sway in the Nigerian system. That is still undergoing some processes, okay, for it to be given some kind of recognition and admittance in our system. So that is what is going on. And so, like I said, I'm not so vast with what they are doing and all that. And those who are doing it have been doing it, you should know, illegally. And that is why it is even seen as a threat, to the Nigerian economy. But I believe that when everything about it is properly identified and recognized, and the transactions associated with it will now be better guided and managed. And so the good side of it will be made to rub off on the Nigerian economy. That's the way I can put it now. Thank you.
Time. I want to touch on the future steps for leveraging cybersecurity levy to ensure Nigeria's digital safety in terms of equal importance. That's my thought. What are the future initiatives that is being put ahead right now in terms of the planning to leverage the cybersecurity levy for enhancing Nigerian digital security? That's my first question to you. And my second question to you, because of time, is the fact that I need to touch on the importance of the multi-sectoral approach, which is crucial, highlighting the successful collaborations and the need for continued synergy against e-fraud and other cyber threats, in terms of what is needed, in what ways that government and private sector's collaboration can be strengthened, by cybersecurity level. This will be my last question to you today.
Let me tell you that this government has inherited what is called the Ministry of Digital Economy, Communications and Digital Economy. Okay, so on a wider scale, that is to say that the digital economy is given serious recognition. And now coming to cybercrime, as it relates to the levy you are talking about, the fact that that levy has just been suspended, okay, shows that the government is still considering, or could still consider, coming up with the levy sometime. And like I did point out, the enabling law did contain, or rather contains, a section that says there are some corporate organizations that we are supposed to pay the levies. So maybe when that is corrected and all that, we can now begin to comment on it to see who and who are paying the levies. You understand? So, but in the interim, all we can advise is that government should, as much as possible, continue to fund the activities of all persons, all organizations, all entities that are involved in the awareness creation and fighting of cybercrime. Okay? And then effective monitoring of the funding, because we are not visitors in this economy. Some of us have been taken aback and, in fact, worried all along that once substantial amount of money is dedicated to a certain activity, you end up, getting more percentage of it frittered away and pocketed by private individuals and so on and so forth. And the problem that is intended to solve will remain with us, if not get worse. So I want to believe that will not be the situation, with the cyber security fund and, the levy that will come into effect sometime in the future, I believe. Okay. I also want to say that the government is not unaware of what negative impact cybercrime can have on the economy generally. And that is why this assignment is given to the Office of the National Security Advisor. Okay? So that the levy thing came up, it's just part of the evolution or growth of that agency. It means that there's something they are doing, and government is recognizing them. And we believe, or rather I believe, that going forward, we begin to feel their impact in a more positive way, with or without the levy.
Many thanks for all your elaborate submission and, of course, throwing light on the issue at hand. But before I let you go, there's a last segment of the show that we call Trending Stories. These are stories that bind us as Nigerians, as Africans. And the first trending story that caught my attention is that of the African Magic Viewers Choice Awards. This is where I have an opinion. Unfortunately, my energy is a bit low today, but I'll try, because the AMVCA was a night to remember, or were a night to remember, whichever word right now, especially when it comes to the Breath of Life, that took home the converted Best Movie Award, solidifying the hard work of Bibi Sasore Ekwadowo, who is the director of class that has, featured on Real Talk with Kike platform I think in 2022 or in 2023. I'm trying to remember now. And of course, the entire crew, Wale Ojo, who also emerged as the victorious Best Actor, Kike Bankole, impressed the judges and the viewers alike, winning the Best Actress. I remember sitting down to watch Adire with my family, and of course, their dedication to their craft truly shone. And the AMVCA's recognized outstanding achievements in film, in television, in digital content creation, throughout Nollywood and the broader African continent. The awards were given, for various categories across different regions. And the ceremony was filled with, heartfelt moments as winners, expressed their gratitude for the recognition. I couldn't make it physically, but, I was watching virtually with my family again, And of course, the 2024 AMVCAs were a celebration of African talent. I must emphasize on that, especially when it comes to storytelling, which is fresh. And I like the fact that I saw new, fresh faces as well, taking center stage alongside veterans. The future of African cinemas looks bright as far as I'm concerned, and I love the fact that there was no controversy regarding the winners this year, because many a time, I think in past times, quite a number of controversy comes from the winners. So let me use this opportunity to congratulate, the organizers, that's Busola Tejumola and her team, the winners, the sponsors, like Nigerian Bureaus was part of their sponsors. And I like the fact that Nigerian Bureau is always supporting good cause and rewarding hard work. And AMVCA 2024 again featured stylish celebrities, emotional moments, and fashion icons. I was looking forward to the fashion from all our celebrities this year, and they never failed us. So now, let me talk about the fashion now that I've mentioned, or I've put in a touchlight to it, especially when it comes to entertainment as well, is the fact that Nigerian designers are impeccable. I don't know what other word to use to describe them. They are very creative. You know, I'm impressed by the endless potential of the industry with such a vibrant designs, you know, that graced our scenes, as in the talented artists themselves, AY Baby, KC. I remember all of these people, and myself and my children were just high during those moments. So Nigeria is poised to become a major force in global entertainment and fashion. Lastly, I must touch on my auntie, you know, Auntie Shafi's performance with Seyi Shodimu as well, which was one of my biggest highlights. You know, not family aside, you know, Shafi's reinvention rather, you know, since that song, you know, every day, I think of it, has been incredible. She has been able to reinvent herself after that. It's very inspiring to see her keep growing as an artist, as an individual, in a country where there's no ease of doing business. You know, it takes incredible perseverance, you know, to stay at the top, to continue to get better at what you do, to continue to sharpen your craft. And of course, it's a testament to the hard work and dedication of those who have succeeded over the years, and the years of hard work in a country where, again, I must emphasize that there's no ease of doing business. I must say kudos. It's pure hustle. And these women, these artists, both men and women, they hustle every day to get better, you know, and the creativity and resourcefulness needed to navigate those challenges are truly impressive, you know, with even all the performances, you know, that was showcased at the stage that night. I say congratulations again to AMVCA's crew, and of course to all the winners and all the nominees as well. I like to emphasize on the fact that once you are nominated, you are also the winner. But quickly, let me go to the second trending story before I come to my guest to give his own opinion because of time. The second trending story is that of the CNN that tags Meghan's visit as Meghan's visited Nigeria as Duchess and left an African princess. And before I come to my guest, let me quickly say this. You know, it's an event of connection with our roots, because I'm beginning to see a lot of controversies online. I'm asking, will they rest? About 3 years ago, Meghan confirmed that she was African and Nigerian descent by blood. You know, I did take the news then on this same show, and we spoke about it in my trending then, and it's not a surprise how people are beginning to now come up with all sorts that she has come to her roots, you know, with her husband, with Prince Harry. Quite a number of people are giving different, you know, reactions to it. The show of love, I must emphasize, the appreciation, the character, the humility, really got many Nigerians and Africans, you know, smiling. And I must emphasize on the fact that, you know, most of the clips that I've seen online, you know, you will see that Harry is very protective of his wife, you know, constantly into each other by body language, by, you know, trying to whisper one or two things and all of that. They did they did a lot of things, you know, that I feel that, you know, is a good one for me, especially when it comes to our food as well and dressing. I like the fact that she was also able to embrace our fashion style, and a lot of Nigerian brands came forth. You know, we never fail when it comes to things like that. You know, our culture, our people in particular, we are very, you know, when it comes to hospitality, we are very warm with that. But for Nigeria, you know, I just feel that their visit offered a chance to showcase Nigeria's ability to host high-profile guests safely, because with all that is going on right now, with all the Boko Haram and the likes and all of that, quite a number of people have fears visiting Nigeria. So I feel that this is a very good one, potentially boosting tourism and investments, you know, in terms of global spotlights, in terms of the visit that they've brought attention to important issues like women's empowerment, you know, mental health, you know, that they've championed that have been championed by the royal families or the royal couples. And for Africa, I just feel that it was a positive connection for us. I must emphasize again, because it has strengthened the ties between the British and the African nation, potentially fostering collaboration on stage or on issues relevant to continent. So for Harry and Meghan, I just want to say that, this was a very good outing for them. It has marked the first major trip to Africa since stepping back from their royal duties, allowing them to continue their philanthropical efforts on a global stage. And I want to say Meghan in particular, have embraced a Nigerian heritage. For those who do not understand, for those who are coming up with all sorts, I don't want to gaslight any of the British people now. I just feel that she has connected with her roots, inspiring discussion on identity. Overall, the visit seems to be a win-win for all parties involved, and it has strengthened international relations, promoting positive changes, and allows the couple to continue to do their impactful work. Unfortunately, I don't know, I cannot take an opinion of my guests. I want to say many thanks to my resourceful guests. They've been whispering into my ears that I need to wrap up, but I say thank you so much, Chief Marcel Okeke, for creating time to throw light on issues that affect us all when it comes to cybercrime. And I wish you the very best as you continue to forge ahead and to lend your voice on issues that affect us all. Thank you so much.